Good morning. This is John Canning speaking here, and I thought I'd give you a few thoughts about the first week of the workshop, and also a little bit of an intro into week 2 of the workshop. First of all, looking at the distribution we have of people in the group, we have a pretty international group of people, which reflects the IB. So on one hand, we have people as on the west coast of the United States, and at the other extreme in the east, we have people in the southern part of Korea. So a truly international group. Well, one of the things which was really heartening was actually looking at the creativity and thought which had gone into the adverts that you put up about an IB graduate. We had some wonderful visuals and some quotes, including one from no less than Muhammad Ali. But what came across in all of the adverts was basically the sort of values and qualities we would expect an IB graduate to have. So what came across was international mindedness, cultural sensitivity, the ability to be a team player, being an effective communicator, having some initiative, all the qualities we would want from a good CAS student. And then we had, as the second learning engagement, was really a bit of discussion about IB values and how CAS relates to them. And what came across was that basically CAS acts as the experiential side of the IB, and it's a chance for students to act out the values implicit in the mission statement. And I think it's important to remember that CAS provides the experiential side of the diploma to make it truly holistic in its approach to education. The second part of that was interesting as well, which was to do with how well does CAS fit into the core, and how well does the core relate to the rest of the diploma? And sadly, in some IB schools, the various strands of the core tend to operate on their own a little bit. And that's often the case with TOK and also with CAS, as some of you commented on. Extended essay tends to be a bit better integrated because it's often based on a subject. However, here's some things to think about. How often do kids have the chance to reflect on the CAS experiences in a TOK lesson? Because CAS creates new personal knowledge for the students each time they do it. So I think using those CAS experiences can help students to understand the concept of service better. It can help them to frame knowledge questions based on real experiences that they've had. And it can help to make TOK seem more relevant to some of the kids, because many kids find that TOK is pretty abstract for them to start their diploma. We could also look at the relationship between TOK and the extended essay, and how well the knowledge frameworks are used to support students when they're actually starting to carry out research. Another question we could ask is how many extended essays have been based on the CAS experience, because certainly the World Studies essay could result from a CAS experience that kids have had on a particular global issue. So there's just some thoughts there about the links between the core itself, and also one should look at the links between CAS and subject areas. For example, how many CAS experiences have developed from something which has turned up in an academic class? And how important does CAS form in the curriculum planners, the unit planners. Okay, then the last learning engagement for this first week was presented you with a series of CAS experiences. And for most of them were pretty straightforward. And, I'm in large agreement with you about the decisions that you made about whether they were, first of all, CAS or not, and if they were CAS, on what grounds. So I think the most contentious one of them for me was probably about the student who applied to have a hunting licence. Now, in some countries, hunting plays an important role in controlling animal populations, both where I live in Switzerland and also in Germany. The hunting time is relatively limited, and it's about controlling populations, particularly of wild pigs and also of deer, which, if not controlled, would actually do quite considerable damage to the environment and also to farming. So you could argue that that's actually service. However, I think one of the things about this is you need to think, when you're looking at a CAS proposal, about, after you've considered the definitions of CA and S, is also the student you're dealing with and the context in which you are. Because clearly some things which are possible in one environment are not going to be possible in another. Okay, looking forward quickly to week 2, one of the first things we do is ask you about some of the issues there are about making connections between CAS and the rest of the DP. And then looking at what went wrong with CAS experience. And really this is an intro into the CAS stages model and about what we can do to support students going through there. So we're looking really in this week at the first couple of stages about sort of investigation and planning and how we can help students through that process. One of the aspects of the second week's learning engagements are that it suggests that your posts should be graded. I won't be doing that. I will be commenting on your posts, but I think it's extremely subjective and unfair to try and grade people for posts on this, so I won't be trying to do that. But as I said, I will try and make some comments on them. With that in mind, I should mention to you that I do my very best to read everybody's posts, but I don't necessarily have the time to actually comment on everyone, and I hope you can understand that. So, I'm looking forward to reading your posts and seeing your interaction for this second week, and I wish you luck with it. I hope you find it both stimulating and enjoyable.